other one I want to ask you about, position heavy, right? What's the position of this draft?
Wide receiver.
Wide receiver.
Wide receiver.
It's that deep.
Yeah, I did a top 75 in January. I had 14.
Wow.
And I don't think I've ever had that happen. And it
that
made me step
arrival
back.
a few years ago where
21,
right?
Chase, Waddle.
Yeah, right.
That was a really good group. There was a lot of day 2 players coming out.
Right.
But this one, it's everything. It's got the blue chip at the top, Marvin Harrison Jr., Malik Neighbors. It's got the depth in the first round with Brian Thomas Jr., Roma Dunze, Troy Franklin from Oregon. But then you get into day 2, and it just feels like starter all over again.
Right.
It's insane, and it's got speed. It's got slot players. It's got every kind of flavor. When I finished that top 75 and had 14, I double. I'm like, am I just far ahead on the wide receivers, and have I caught up to everywhere else? But you go through it, and a lot of people doing rankings around the league and media, they're finding the same way.
Yeah.
It's just a great wide receiver class. And these guys are going to fly in Indy. They're all going to fly.
When is it not a great receiver class?
It feels that way.
It's growing on trees. You know, I think you've heard me say that before. It's
7-on-7s played a little into that.
Of course.
Everybody wants to be a wide receiver.
I mean, even years that are down at wide receiver, they're still good. You're still going, wow, this guy's a third rounder.
That
He's
was
playing
last
a lot.
year.
It was last year, right?
Yes.
I know.
Yeah.
I mean, the Tank Dells, the Rasheed Rices of the world.
Right.
I mean,
Puka
you obviously
Nacua, Jaden
exactly
Reed.
right.
It was ridiculous.
So
ridiculous.
I mean, me included, maybe we underevaluated the last year's class. All right, so what's another position? Any other position to you that's real heavy in this one?
Tackle's really good.
Which is
good. Thank God, right? After what we saw this year, quarterbacks murdered left and right. We needed a tackle class like this. Just Joe Alt's going to go in the top 10 from Notre Dame.
Clearly the number one guy
for
the
me.
most part.
I think you'll get some debate,
right?
But I mean, he's 6'8". He plays under control. What shocks me when you think of a guy 6'8" and 3-year starter, got there as a freshman,
right,
and started right away.
McGlinchey-ish here. Are we talking? Maybe?
Yeah, without a doubt. And McGlinchey, did he play on the right side all Notre Dame? I can't remember at all. I know he has in the NFL.
I know. Yeah,
that's what I'd have to call. But same skyscraper.
Right.
What shocks me with Alt though is for 6'8", you think, okay, how is he going to be on the move as a zone blocker?
Yeah,
tremendous.
Right.
I mean, hits every strike zone, climbs to the second level. He's got good reach. He is really, really impressive.
And he can anchor in there too.
100%. And he could get off the ball and drive block.
Okay.
I mean, when you think of that size, you hope that he can, but he could
well,
play
Notre
low.
Dame offensive linemen are typically well-rounded.
100%.
Right? Coached like pros.
Yeah.
It's definitely like a SEC school as far as how the O-line is taught and what they do. I've always respected the offensive line for Notre Dame. They've got an eye for that talent at that school, and it's one of those schools every year where it seems like there's 2 guys that come out of there where you go, damn, he's an NFL player for sure.
And he's played over 2,000 snaps already, and he's not an old prospect.
Okay, so who's on his heels? So when you say tackles deep too, like you're talking deep first-round talent?
I think we'll get 6
you think
first-round tackles.
You get 5 or 6 first round. All right,
because then you go to Olu Fashanu from Penn State, who's a little bit more raw.
Yeah,
he's
got
not
an incredible looking body,
built
TV
in a lab.
Scouting, right?
Built
it looked like exactly what you
the
wanted
arms
to
and
look
hands
like.
go down to the ground.
Right.
The feet move like a tight end.
Yep.
He can recover, redirect. His run blocking is a work in progress. It got better this year, but it is not, in my opinion, NFL above average or average. But the pass protection is a thing of beauty.
Right.
I mean, the only game, and everybody blew this game up because it's like when you watch a great corner get beat, everybody has to viral clip him and be like, oh, my God. He got beat against Ohio State, 2 times, and everybody thought it was the end of the world. That's how good he is in pass pro, that you highlight those moments. And he's a guy that football came to his life pretty late. He was playing basketball. He played high school football really late. So he's only a 2-year starter. I think people forget that he's going to get better.
Yeah.
He needs to play more. But the pass pro, I mean, how vital pass pro is in this league, that alone makes him a top 10 pick.
Definitely.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
Then you get to the group of Taliza Fuaga, a lot of right tackles now.
Okay.
So those 2 are left tackles.
Right.
Then you get to the other first rounders that could go in the top 15. Taliza Fuaga from Oregon State.
Gotcha.
Best run blocker, I think, in the draft.
Okay.
Just destroys people.
Right.
Destroys people. He plays with an edge. He's got really heavy hands. Nobody can rush through him, but they do cross his face. These 2 guys, him and J.C. Latham, they don't bring their feet with them all the time in pass protection.
Right.
And they lunge, and they're
lean.
big. They're
Right.
big. Latham's 360. Fuaga's going to play closer to 340.
Okay.
So when you lunge at that weight, it's hard to pop back up.
Redirect,
Where
sure.
you watch Fashanu, I mean, he's springy as they come.
Yeah.
Where you're just like, oh, this guy can mirror any way you want. But what you get with Latham and Fuaga is you can run behind them 40 times a game.
Gotcha.
And they'll just completely relocate people.
Gotcha.
So they're going to go in the top 15 because of that. The wild card, Troy Fontenot from Washington.
Yeah, right. Got a good close look at him early in the year.
Played left tackle.
Yep.
Kind of has a guard body, although his arms aren't as short as people think, and they'll see that at the combine.
Right.
I think he could play. It's the Elijah Vera Tucker conversation all over again.
You.
He'll be fine at tackle.
Yep.
Probably be a Pro Bowl guard.
Yeah.
Where is he going to go?
Right.
How high is he going to go? I think he's going to go in the top 20.
Okay.
And then you get these guys that are like Tyler Guyton from Oklahoma, 1-year starter at right tackle. But if you want the closest thing athletically, physically gifted to Fashanu, it's him.
Right.
I mean, it's all there. And then you go down to the Senior Bowl, highly competitive, so just well coachable and into getting better and into every rep where you're like, okay, I believe in the development.
Yeah.
Because he's just so about football that all those physical gifts with the work ethic are going to translate.
Yeah, sure.
But do you just throw him out on an island from day one in the NFL? I don't know if I do that.
Right.
I think the hand placement is a little all over the place. I think he can get a little bit stronger. But he's going to go in the first round because he's just physically gifted.
There are guards, centers, anybody else in this that's like a shoe-in, a lock here? Who are we talking about?
Yeah, Jackson Powers Johnson from Oregon, first-round center.
Gotcha.
At 330-pound center.
Wow.
The last guy I remember like that was Frank Ragnow, who's been great for the Lions.
Right.
But just a burly center that you can really have him drive people off the ball. But he's athletic. He can move at that size. So, and it's weird. We've had the era of the small center. Like Linderbaum coming out was kind of small. We've had some small centers.
Right.
Who the Eagles drafted.
Juergens.
Yes.
Right.
100%. This is not the case with
Right.
him. Zach Frazier from
More
West
Landon
Virginia.
Dickerson, I guess, is what you're talking
Just
here.
a big,
Little bigger,
nasty,
strong,
100%.
root people out of the run game, nose tackles, no problem.
100%. So Zach Frazier from
Right.
West Virginia. I mean, I think he's a 4-time state champion wrestler. So just the wrestling background on the offensive line is one of the most translatable things right now. Frazier is a guy who got hurt at the end of the year, so he missed the Senior Bowl. But he, to me, is a borderline first-round talent that probably goes day 2.
Okay.
And just really impressive. Has played a ton of football. Yeah, this is a good
you're
group.
talking here, the O-line, we're going to see 5 to 8 guys in the O-line go in the first round is what you're saying.
Yeah, Graham Barton from Duke can play all 5 spots.
Right.
Probably plays center.
Right.
He's going to go in the first round.
Okay. All right. So let's switch it over just a little bit. Running back. We got any running back that's a first rounder this year that's in that conversation?
We might not have a second rounder.
Okay. Because I was going to say I don't hear anybody or anything, any buzz about anybody.
We might not have a second rounder. I like Braylon Allen,
right?
The big Wisconsin bruiser.
Gotcha.
Because when a dude he's 20, and he's already 6'3",
he's a man.
240 pounds, runs through people.
Yeah,
I think
made for NFL football.
Made for NFL football.
Right.
I believe in the talent.
Right.
I would take him at the end of the second round, I think.
Yeah.
But, man, after that, it's just a lot of guys that you go, okay, I like him in our committee.
Yeah.
Blake Corum, Trey Benson. You know, I like them in our committee.
Yeah.
They're going to be fine NFL players. But think of the guys that are special. Bijan, Gibbs, Brees. They were all drafted in the top 40.
Yeah.
They touch the ball, and everybody goes, he could be gone.
Right.
I don't see someone in this class that scares me like that.
I don't remember seeing anybody all year in college football that was like that at the running back.
Donovan Edwards from Michigan went back to school.
Yeah.
He would have been the closest thing to a Gibbs player. He's not Jahmyr Gibbs, but that guy that, the hole's gone. Let me just bounce outside and I'm gone. Yeah, that kind of guy. But he went back to school.
All right. I think he should have. That was probably good.
I think so, too.
Get a year without Blake Corum, show us all what you can go, improve your stock that way. I think he's a guy that's dealt with some knee issues as well, so that'll hopefully he can get that right and be healthy for that. All right, we didn't even hit on defense yet, and I want to hit on some defensive guys here, right? Defense, deepest position that to you think so far?
I think corner. I think it's deep.
Seems like I see a lot of corners in the first round conversation.
I don't think there's a star in this corner class, but I think there's a lot of good starters.
Gotcha.
I think the biggest conversation will be around Cooper DeJean from Iowa.
Yeah.
Because there's already...
Because he's white?
Right?
I mean, what? Come on. Let's just call it what it is. First off, the corner last year from Iowa, what was his name?
He
was white too. I was like,
Riley,
who has 2 white corners in college football?
Right.
What year is this? 1964?
I know, and they were both from the same program. And
pretty incredible. It really is.
Unbelievable. Riley Moss.
That's right. Yeah. Incredible movement, really good athlete. All right, so this kid, though, you think this is you're not saying he's the best, but he's going to be the one that's going to get the most attention.
I think he's the best corner.
You do
I'm
think
not
he's
afraid
the best.
to say it.
Okay.
Because everybody goes, he plays a lot of off coverage and uses his eyes and awareness. And yes, he's amazing at that.
It's Iowa. They play that way.
That's how they play.
Right.
It's not his fault.
Right.
I think if he was healthy and was going to run at the combine, I genuinely think he ran at least a 4.4. He could fly. He's not slow. I don't know where we come up with this thought that he's slow.
Well, he's white.
Right. He can open up his hips and run.
Yeah.
The ball hawking ability. If a team takes him and goes, we're going to play him more as our chess piece defensive back, he'll be a
Right.
big nickel. He'll play some safety. He'll play some corner. That's fine because his ball hawking is unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, he catches everything. He's dangerous with the returning.
Okay, but you know me. Do you think he can be on an island and play some man-to-man?
I think he can.
You think he can do that,
yeah.
right?
I don't
That
think
to me is like...
It's not like the guys, though, that we've had, like Witherspoon,
Yeah.
Sauce. People saw Stingley that way.
Right.
It's not that level to me. That's why I don't think this corner class has the blue chip at the top.
Gotcha.
But you have this run of guys that are all going to go in the first round.
Right.
DeJean. I like Nate Wiggins from Clemson a lot.
Okay.
He's 6'2". He's lanky, but he can run. He could jump. I mean,
It's
he can
Clemson.
fly. It's
I know.
Clemson athlete.
Clemson looks like they always got
100%.
guys that can cover.
I would say the guy that could end up being the best on an island with
Yeah.
more development is Terrion Arnold from Alabama.
Okay.
He's athletic. He's got strength.
Right.
Same with Quinyon Mitchell from Toledo. Another guy. All they did at Toledo in college is play off, 10 yards off. But he
Yeah.
went down to the Senior Bowl and got his hands on people, and nobody can get away from him.
So it opens up some eyes.
And Mitchell's going to test really well, so he's going to go in the first round. Mitchell is a dark horse to be the first corner taken. A kid from Toledo.
Gotcha.
Which is pretty amazing.
That is
But he's a dark horse to be the first corner
Who was the
taken.
kid you said from Alabama?
Terrion Arnold.
Terrion
Because
Arnold.
his teammate, Kool-Aid McKinstry.
That's the one I always hear about.
It's going to be really interesting what he runs
Right.
this week. If he passes that test in the 40, he can go in the first round still. If he runs a little bit of a slower 40, like some people think, it's going to be day 2 for him.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right, so corner, that's corner. Any other positions that you think are deep like that or even rival that on the defensive side of the ball?
It's tough. I think that edge has some players. I mean, obviously, the guys that are going to go in the first round, like Jared Verse from Florida State, power rusher.
Right.
Dallas Turner, athletic, can move him around, do a lot of different things. He could play off the ball.
Number 15 at Bama.
Yeah.
Right.
He's somebody that is going to go in
Got
the
an
first round.
incredible looking body.
He got so much stronger this year.
Right.
I would take him in the top 12 to 15. I have no problem with
Okay.
that. He's really good. And then Laiatu Latu's
Like Nolan Smith athletic
right.
wise? That
Yes.
kind of that guy?
Oh, yeah.
That kind of
I
guy.
thought so on tape.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
All
just
right.
a better player.
Right.
And Nolan, if he didn't get hurt, probably would have had an even better college career.
Yeah.
He just was hurt a lot.
Right.
Laiatu Latu from UCLA, probably the most interesting guy.
Catches my eye when I saw him this year. It looks
the
like
best-
Jalen Phillips.
It's the
really,
best
to
tape
me.
you're going to watch out of the pass rushers. Can counter every move in the toolbox.
So why hasn't he won? Like, what is it?
He was medically retired from Washington.
Okay.
Medically retired.
Right, damn, this is really like Jalen Phillips.
It's crazy, right?
Holy shit.
Yep.
Not
And
only looks
then
like him or the same number as him, and he's got the same medical issues here.
UCLA clears him.
Right.
Dominates for 2 years.
Right.
Dominates. Now, I don't think he's going to test, which at edge, this matters.
Yeah.
At edge rusher, it matters. He's not going to test like these other guys.
Right.
And you have to wonder how that affects him, how much it affects him at the pro level.
Yeah.
But his hands, he's got the best hands. Him and Verse, hand placement's phenomenal.
So you
the way
think
to get
he's
off
the
blocks.
most polished? Or
Yes. I said it like this. If I had to put a guy on an NFL field this year
Right.
to win a rep on an island against a tackle,
Right.
I'd take him.
Okay.
I'd take him.
Yeah.
It's just he's dialed in completely. Every move is in the toolbox, and it's not that he's out there just trying things.
Yeah.
It's refined.
So who's the freakiest athlete of the group? To you?
Chop Robinson from Penn State.
The Penn State kid.
I mean, the production was non-existent this year.
Right.
But
why? What is it in your assessment? You know, I haven't watched him at all. Another guy, I watched him, on TV,
Yeah.
and I went, ooh, this, because everybody was talking about him.
It felt like he has to win off the snap with that burst
Right.
and turn the corner, just win with speed.
And he has nothing else.
And the hand battle, not pretty. The leverage battle could be better, and he can't counter right now. And he's
Right.
just getting better against the run, but I have to shoot a gap against the run, not I'm going to stack and hold the edge and blow up the run.
What kind of body are we talking? Like chip?
Kind of squat, like Carl Lawson-ish.
A little bit that way.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
That squatty,
Right.
like, almost like too much muscle for
Yeah,
the jersey
right.
kind of build. But his ability to get off the ball, you just draft that early because there's just not a lot of guys that could do that.
Yeah.
He's so explosive. So explosive.
Like-
I actually still believe in the player. People have cooled on him.
Right.
I believe in that if somebody coaches up his hands, that when he gets better at that timing ability to just master it,
Yeah.
some tackles just can't set against him.
Right.
They have to overset, and then he's going to learn how to counter inside. He's really interesting.
Sounds like it.
I mean, remember
Sounds
when we
like-
watched Yaya Diaby last
Yeah,
year, where it's
sure.
like, this is all athlete.
Right.
And then he had 7.5 sacks this year, and you're like, well, sometimes guys figure
There's
it out.
something to that. You know,
100
that's why I tend to, when in doubt, I go with that guy.
Me too.
And
At
all
edge,
things, everything almost,
Yeah,
always.
right.
You know?
Yep.
Just because they just go, hey, I mean, again, yeah, I'm not getting to work out these guys or whatever else, but when you have the pure physical, raw ability and tools, and you've alluded to this earlier, you like football and you're coachable. Those are things I go, okay, yeah, he doesn't have this, he doesn't have that. But, damn, I've been in the NFL before and been around it my whole life. These are the things that are coachable, that you can fix. So he's intriguing. All right, so you're saying Chop Robinson's the freakiest of the group athletic-wise. You think he's the one that's going to, like, pop to us whatever that night is. Are they Thursday or Friday night? I can't remember.
I think they're a little earlier. Yeah, they might be Thursday.
Might be Thursday, right?
Yeah.
All right. So there's that. What about now? I just want to hit on DT and LB before we just move on to some other random questions, right? Of course, DT, I'm interested because the Texas boys seem at the top of the list. Are they both really legit top of the list? Like, both going to be first-round type of players here?
Murphy will be,
yeah,
because he's got that Kalijah Cansey from last year that he could just take over from the interior as a rusher.
Gotcha.
He could shoot gaps. He's explosive. He can wreck the game.
Byron
we
Murphy
like to say.
Right.
Yeah, Byron Murphy from Texas.
Yeah.
Sweat will not go in the first round.
What kind of size are we talking with Murphy?
About 6'1", probably going to play at like 290.
Gotcha, right.
So he's bigger than Cansey.
Yeah, right.
He's bigger than Cansey.
Gotcha.
So he's just so explosive. He's going to go in the first round. I like Jer'Zhan Newton from Illinois right at the top with him. Newton is a guy that can stack and shed.
Yeah.
He played some running back in high school, so he's a really good athlete.
Right.
But he's got the girth. Another 6'1", 300 pounds.
Yep.
Great hands. Just
Yep.
understands how to always get off blocks. And you watch the scheme. I mean, the sack numbers would have been higher if they let him do anything.
Yeah, right.
It's just a scheme that drives you absolutely insane. He's such a good player.
What was he doing? Like two-gapping? And
a
just
lot of that.
And then holding his ground?
Yeah, and they'll also use him on stunts to clear an alley for a blitzer. And it's like, I get it, but this guy can dominate against one-on-ones. Just have him attack. You don't need to have him run a stunt all the time to clear out space for somebody else.
So these are your two guys, though. You think those are the
guys.
And then
Sweat, though, I want to talk about.
Yeah,
from
I
Texas.
do because he
T'Vondre
catches
Sweat.
your eye. I mean, he's giant.
But he's great. The
I
tape
know
is
he is.
phenomenal.
Right.
T'Vondre Sweat from Texas, he's literally the size of a camper.
Right.
I mean, you see him in there. It's
like
two
Jordan
people.
Davis-ish,
right?
100%.
Okay. Where he can two-gap, he can control the line of scrimmage. You can't run at him. I think he's a way better pass rusher than anyone gives him credit for.
Right.
Like, he can really forklift offensive linemen into the pocket.
Every year, this does not get valued enough in the draft community. Every year. Dexter Lawrence, he's not big. He's too big. He can't push. Vita Vea, it's too big. He won't be able to add rush pass value. We can go down the list. When are we going to start to catch on to start giving these guys the credit they deserve in the pass rush game? There's value in them in the NFL.
Sweat has one thing he has to check off at the combine, and I've been to 8 of the last 9 Senior Bowls. Maybe it's my memory. I can't remember this ever happening.
Yeah.
He didn't weigh in. He did not weigh in.
That's not good.
And I mean, I was lucky enough I get to be on the field for
They
drills.
say he's what, like 350?
He's listed at 364.
Oh.
He had to have been
390, 384.
At least
No
at
doubt.
the Senior Bowl.
No
and
doubt.
the crazy thing is, Chris, he was great. He was great.
Right.
But
they don't want that number there because it just starts a litany of, negative talk.
If he comes
he's not in shape, he's one bad week of eating and he puts on 10 pounds, which is a real thing with these guys.
And it's how you get hurt or you're playing 10% of the snaps.
Yeah.
I mean, where do we draft that kind of guy?
Right.
So he's fascinating because truly he's a back-end around one talent, in my opinion.
Right.
I could see him going all the way to the 4th round.
Yeah.
But if he comes in the combine and he just figured it out for a couple weeks and he's 360, you're going to watch the tape. The tape is tremendous because he can completely anchor the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
And that's what wins football games right now. Because if you can't run at a guy, but you also know he could push the pocket, that part of the field is over for you. It's over.
Right.
So he's a total wild card of this draft in that class.
Okay. All right. I'm excited. He definitely caught my eye watching him, in the Final Four towards the end of the football season. I mean, the Texas D tackles certainly were eye-popping.
Dominate.
Yeah, they really do. I'm excited to watch them. Okay.
Linebacker?
Well, LB, is there one? I feel like I haven't heard of one that really pops up in any shape, way, or form that's like towards the top of the draft.
No, there's not a first rounder.
There's no first rounder?
There's no first rounder.
Damn, did we have a first rounder last year at middle linebacker?
The Lions.
The Lions did. That's right. Jack Campbell. Other than that was
and that was
it.
a surprise.
Right.
That was a surprise.
Yes.
So it is
2 years in a row here we're going without any top-tier stand-up middle linebackers.
I like Junior Colson from Michigan.
Right.
Run and chase speed.
Man.
All of that.
Yes.
He's originally from Haiti. Really interesting background. He's come over here and just figured out football real quickly.
Definitely.
But
top 45, maybe top 50 picks.
I have him 35th, but I'm high man on him. I think that's as high as you'll see him.
He's an NFL linebacker. I saw him in
100%.
person, and he is ready to go for sure.
The wild card is Peyton Wilson from
Right.
NC State.
Okay.
I have him 61. His body has been just torn apart throughout
Yeah,
college.
right.
I know some shoulder injuries, which is always my biggest fear at the position.
Yeah.
But the tape is tremendous. He's a really good athlete. He's been a leader for that program. So Peyton Wilson, there's no questions about the player. I don't think there's a lot of questions about the athlete.
Right.
It's just, do you have him for 3 games or do you have him for 80% of the season?
Yeah, gotcha.
I don't think anyone can answer that.
Right. Yo, homies, what's up? I know it's the off season, but it's never the off season on Chris Simms Unbuttoned. Me and Ahmed Fareed are going to be here for it all. You know, we got free agency. We're going to break it all down. The draft, the rankings of positions. Of course, we're going to unpack it all. Hit subscribe, get to my free agency reactions, 2024 draft rankings, and more. Thanks again for watching. Peace out, homies. See you soon.